Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What is today? It is February 6, 2025 at 9 p.m. at night, Central Standard Time. That means it's 10 o'clock over on the East Coast and 8 o'clock somewhere in the Colorado time zone, mountain, and then where'd that put you? 7 over on the West Coast, I think? Yeah, that sounds about right. How you guys doing tonight, man? It's going to be a good show. I hope you guys are ready and up and moving, ready to go. Obviously, USAID has been gutted today. The Israeli Defense Force opened up and started dropping more bombs on Hezbollah. Hezbollah also got caught, tipping it out with HTS over inside of Syria. And it looks like I got inside footage from USAID. It looks like Elon Musk sent a doctor in there today, and that doctor went to flipping town. I mean, look at what they are subjecting these federal employees to. Like, that can't be good, man. That can't be good at all. I don't know who opened up to that or how much of our federal tax dollars went to it. That's not okay. That's definitely not okay. Not in my mind. Not even remotely in the slightest. Good evening, guys. How you doing? We're just waiting on everybody to run in here, so I just felt like, getting something up on the screen for you to stare at and get excited about. Alex O coming in, gifting out a Speak the Truth membership. AP Payne coming in, dropping out another fat 10. Ladies and gentlemen, now, that's a good video within itself. It does make me giggle inside, and it makes me laugh. Any of you guys like firearms fails videos? I do. When I saw this video earlier, couldn't get over it. And all I'm doing right now is just rolling through some weird stuff, waiting on y'all to get up in here into life. This guy's got a U.S. Army shirt on and a tricked out pistol, so I'm assuming he's on, the U.S. Army shooting team. I don't know if you've seen this one yet, but it's definitely worth a watch. If you love shooting and competitions and everything else, this just really gives you real American pride. Now, the crazy part about that video is his hand was his finger was actually outside the trigger guard and up on the slide when that sucker went off. That means that dude's got his trigger down to half-pound pull. It's a joke. That's not safe. That's not okay. You took it too far, man. You took that shit way too far. Way too far. That's just stupid. I don't know how else to say that. Don't do that. That's not okay. If you're into guns and you're into shooting, that's not safe. That's not allowed. That's not okay. Will Ferrell's upset because apparently his trans movie didn't get accepted.
Ask me if we got Oscar nominated.
Did you? I'm just curious. That's such a good documentary. It's one of the best documentaries I've seen in years. It was beautiful. It was timely. It was heartfelt. I was inspired by it. Tell me, how was the Oscar nomination?
We didn't get it.
No
Oh,
way!
sorry about that. Well, those guys,
I
right?
know. Yeah, thank you.
The Academy.
Well,
say it.
Especially the doc branch. Yeah.
The
doc branch of
totally,
the Academy.
Totally different guys?
Oh, you
Yeah.
don't want to hang out with the doc branch.
Dude, I'm sorry. Just because you put a transgender in your movie doesn't mean you qualify for an Oscar. And truthfully, I don't even give two craps about movies or Oscars or who gets them. You know what I am actually really concerned with right now in this country? It sure as hell isn't the Oscars. It sure as hell isn't people that shave their triggers down too far or frickin' people getting fingers shoved up their butts. And no, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I'm at.
So many questions. First of all, if they're shouting and helping these people get away with bullhorns, how is that legal to get help from the people in the streets? I know they can protest, but that's not what they're doing.
You're exactly right. When they come to they cross the line of impediment, and that's why I'm working very close, starting this morning with Department of Justice, and where do they cross that line of impediment? So they may find themselves in a pair of handcuffs very soon. So working with DOJ on that, get some legal guidance on that. I'm not an attorney. I know what SecOps is about. I know what crossing that line is, but getting DOJ back up on that. So it's something we're looking at right now, Harris. We're not going to tolerate it anymore. This is not a game. When we show up these sites, this is a dangerous job for the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and all the DOJ agencies. To have that type of interference puts our officers at great risk. Not only the officers, it puts the aliens at great risk because anything can happen when we take our eyes off the goal here. So we're addressing that immediately today. I'm addressing OPSEC today, operational security, and how these leaks are happening. We've already identified how this operation got leaked. I'll deal with that today.
So he's a little bit upset because this particular operation over in Aurora ended up getting leaked. And it wasn't just Denver, right? So Denver is your major sanctuary city over there. I almost feel like I need to go over to the map and start actually mapping out stuff that's happening here in the United States, particularly Denver today. As a matter of fact, let's not, you know what, let me go through the videos and then I'll point out to you guys where these different raids and stuff were out there taking place. ICE hit the street in numbers over there today, and it wasn't Aurora within itself. Now, if you guys remember from months ago, Aurora was where we ended up having those gang members take over the apartment complexes, made national news. People were really pissed off about it. It wasn't even Saudi Aurora that got hit, right? It was Denver, Aurora, Thornton, and a lot of other surrounding areas. So what'll typically happen, because some people know about it, some people don't. This one is actually a DHS vehicle. You can see it right here, Homeland Security Investigations on this particular one. But a lot of the times when these federal agents actually show up to the local law enforcement agencies, they might show up with a handful. They might show up with like a full package, depending on what they're going after. And then they'll lean on the local teams to go along and help them out in knocking these things out. And so then they'll go around, they'll pick up their violent offenders, round them up. The cops get a free pass, and they get to have fun. But, you know, it's Colorado, and it's never going to be a day in Colorado without people screaming this shit at the cops.
Profile by people, and now what? A passive act for shit? Get the fuck out of my house! Get the
Fuck ICE! You want to protect the land? Go back to Europe! You want to protect your land? Go back to Europe! Fucking cowards! Show your face, you fucking coward! In the Subaru BSD W14! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you, Fox! Fuck you!
Fuck you! Let me see your fucking face! Let me see your fucking face! Let me see your fucking face! Take your mask off! Why are you so secretive? Why are you secretive?
Good luck on
Now's the time for me to tell you guys that this is my old agency, and it brings like warmness to my heart to see my brothers in blue out there still just cranking it down on illegals now that Daddy Trump's in office. And it hasn't changed. You know, there's still a bunch of pissed off people screaming at him, yelling at him, and everything else. Friends of mine end up getting caught on camera. Kind of makes me like warm, glow inside and all the other stuff. And oddly enough, I don't know what it is with this agency, but I've seen them in like several viral videos. One was like a bank robbery. Another one, my buddy's like kicking a door in, all sorts of weird shit.
the ride along in the expedition with BRB 747 license plate. Did you find your criminals? Did you find the criminals?
Spoiler alert, they did find their criminals. They busted a bunch of them with federal warrants, with a buttload of dope and frickin' guns. So, yeah, spoiler alert, they got their frickin' people. They all had federal warrants, and they all had dope, and they all had guns, from what I'm hearing.
Show your face.
Allegedly.
Show your face, you closet racist. Show your face.
Blacko coming in giving out 5 YouTube memberships.
Show your face. Show your face, you closet racist. Show your face.
Clay, thanks for being a member of 18 months, friend. Or 15. Better have a warrant. I need to see it. I'd also like to say, like, the last time I was over in this shithole before I got out, you see where this car's parked in the back right over here? I had to respond to a gang-related shooting right there at the same place. Like, this place is a shithole, FYI.
Unmarked cars. Closet racist.
Get out!
Get out of here!
On the sidewalk, please.
Leave the criminals alone!
The cars. The cars.
Vic, welcome to becoming a true supporter, friend.
What's your sheriff's name, boss?
Get out of our community!
What's your sheriff's name? Yeah.
Ah! Don't waste my fucking tax money! I see you! I see you! Get out!
He said, "What's your sheriff's name?" He's like, "I don't work for the sheriff." James O'Rourke coming in, giving out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. I love those. Yeah, those are good guys right there, believe it or not.
Thank you. Can I get a business card?
En vez de sentirnos a salvo, estamos peor. Exactly. Ya no es seguridad, ya no es seguridad ni con ellos.
No trust. No trust.
En vez de sentirnos protegidos, nos sentimos peor. Do you hear that? They're suing our families. Do you hear that?
Yay, we got their business cards. Uh-oh, they got business cards. Uh-oh. Is it illegal to shout with a bullhorn? It depends, ladies and gentlemen. It depends. It depends on where you're at and what you're doing and the time of day in which you're doing it and how much noise that particular bullhorn is emitting. It depends. It depends. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much dealing with idiots in Colorado. No surprise there. It's probably like one of the most liberal places I've ever came across. But we do, well, aside from Portland, I mean, Portland, Oregon, that is a liberal utopia. But then again, Los Angeles is like right up there with Portland. I don't know which one is more ridiculous in my mind. But it looks like a U.S. service member and 3 contractors, open source intel is actually reporting, a U.S. service member and 3 contractors got killed in the Philippines in a plane crash. Said a light aircraft conducting an ISR mission for the Philippine Armed Forces crashed near Putan, killing 1 service member and 3 defense contractors. I have not got confirmation on who this is, and I'm kind of worried about it.
No, ya Allah, pepakarakogi. No. Kaya siapa man kung sa pulwa, kimalag dun. Harapin natin. Ape pakarakogi walin. Ay doy, ape pakarakogi walin yorbayo. Nyak managilkaman doy. Musa kami pagsekatano gi mamin ka na tanram. Kaya gan musa kami si Margaret tigunin niya mabasuka.
So in case you're keeping track, the F-35, the Black Hawk, and now this one within the last week. Just throwing it out there.
Kayo po magayas. Inam katigudi. Uwe guna mga private plane niya ka.
And I mean, I guess it's just kind of sad, you know, those guys are over there. There is a lot of problems in the Philippines, believe it or not. And so they were conducting legit operations as they were out there flying around, and the plane ended up going down. I don't see any signs of like airburst munitions, tail being shot off, anything like that. But it's kind of weird, the spot at which it's kind of rested. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. If any of you guys in the chat can identify that plane, greatly appreciate it. I have no idea what type of aircraft that is, if I'm being honest. Like, that was never my like huge cup of tea, but nonetheless, it looks like we did lose probably 4 Americans in that plane crash, believe it or not. This gentleman, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman right here, Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio, he is raising hell over here in the United States right now. Everybody's pissed off at USAID. Everybody's livid at USAID with all of their frivolous spending. Well, Marco Rubio decided that they don't need thousands of people. Hell, they don't even need 500 people. They only need 294 people. Check this out. They are literally looking at cutting down thousands upon thousands of people inside of USAID. I think the number they had was 15,000 that were currently employed. I'm sorry, 14,000. 14,000 that were currently employed. And they're cutting it all the way down to 294. They're saying only 294 of the people inside of USAID are actually essential. That is nuts. And when you look at this right here, it's starting to break down where they're at. Management, they got 75, Middle East 13, Africa 4, Asia doesn't need any programs, E&E 2. I mean, it's freaking nuts how they got it laid out. Overseas drawdown, Washington drawdown, so on and so forth. But they're saying it's getting all the way down to 294. And that's thanks to Marco Rubio has came in. Shrimp says, has everyone just forgotten about the medical jet? No, I sure as hell didn't forget about the medical jet. I also haven't seen anything new come out on it, but I have been a little busy myself. So I will do my best to get back over to it. This one within itself, I'm not quite sure how I feel, but it sounds like Dr. Fauci not only funded the Wuhan labs, but he also defiled some animals.
Just for the folks back home real quick, before I get into my questions, I want to just highlight 1,000,000 seconds is 11 and a half days. 1,000,000,000 seconds is 31 years and 7 months. It's like this is a huge difference. So when we're talking about billions of dollars going towards the cruelty of animals, it is much larger than what it sounds, because it's been so watered down to hear that Congress is spending millions or billions or even trillions of dollars. God forbid if we find out what comes after a trillion, we'll start spending that too. But Mr. Goodman, since 1998, how much do you believe that the federal government has spent on animal cruelty testing?
Thank you for the question. That's, as we've been discussing, it's tough because there's not a lot of transparency about actually how much tax dollars are being spent. I would say we're probably looking at $1 trillion in spending by NIH since '98, and if about 47% of that is used for experiments on animals, $500 billion could have.
Wow.
Yo, did that man just say we spent $500 billion on experimenting on animals? Did I hear that right? $500 billion on experimenting on animals. That's ridiculous.
Potentially been spent on animal testing since 1998.
That is an extreme number. Thank you for that. And Mr. Goodman, how much money do you think that NIAID wasted on unethical and useless and abusive testing? I would imagine it's about the same, because none of this has been very useful or effective.
Yeah, so Dr. Fauci ran NIAID from 1984 to 2022, and when he left at the end of 2022, it had a $6.5 billion budget. Again, we don't know what percentage of that was for animal testing, but probably higher than the average across NIH. And I just want to make a note here that Dr. Fauci, and I don't have any issue with him outside of his abuse of animals, he was not just a paper pusher. He was personally involved in animal experimentation, experimenting on monkeys, giving them HIV-like viruses until the day he left NIH. He was a lead investigator on grants that were funded by taxpayers to do that. And he started his career by infecting chimpanzees with HIV and promising we were going to have an AIDS vaccine back in the 80s, which we never.
I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on. I have to make a special announcement. Hold on. I got to make sure I got it right. I don't want to be wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, my son Ryan is watching the show. Everybody give a round of applause for Ryan. Hello, Ryan. We love you. I miss you, buddy. Thank you for watching, man. I miss you guys a ton.
Forgot, because as you mentioned, they don't get HIV, they don't get AIDS, they don't get sick. So there's been an enormous amount of waste and abuse, and his legacy, unfortunately, he's gone from government, but his legacy at NIAID lives on.
Yes, fortunately, he has gone from government, but that doesn't prevent us from holding him accountable for not only the wasteful spending, but the cruel tests that have taken place over the years. So maybe you answered my next question. How many of these treatments have found cures in humans that come from this cruel kind of testing?
Virtually none. We've heard the statistic.
$500 billion to $1 trillion in cruelty to animals our federal government actually spent testing animals in animal cruelty. $500 billion at least, if not more, since '98, and we haven't solved a single thing. Ryan, everybody loves you. Look at that. Happy birthday, bud. Everybody tell Ryan happy birthday. You know why. Don't tell him why. Just tell him happy birthday. It's okay. It's okay. You can tell Ryan happy birthday too.
Today, and any that have come, it's out of pure dumb luck, and they're the exception, not the rule, because animal experiments are a dead end. It's pure chance if something good comes out of it.
So pure chance if something comes out of it, and our government ends up spending $500 billion. So we've got a million different problems to worry about in this country, and yet we ended up spending it on animal testing, where you're lucky if anything at all comes out of it. Now, here's where it starts to get interesting, and we're going to shift focus from the United States, and we're going to go overseas right now, and we're going to go over to Lebanon, where supposedly a ceasefire deal is happening. But as it turns out, it looks like there's a lot of airstrikes going on over there. A heck of a lot of airstrikes going on over there. Oh, man, I missed it. Okay, Okay, one last raid before we go back. This is the same place. Remember the people that were whining, crying, and shouting about like, yeah, you leave the illegals alone. Yeah, this is the other part of it.
This is the police. You have a warrant. Come out with your hands up.
Also on their radar, this previously deported Honduran illegal alien with pending local charges for strangulation, kidnapping, and possession of fentanyl.
Get the out of my neighborhood! Get out!
While activists yelled outside, agents recovered this stolen rifle from inside the man's home.
I mean, I wouldn't want to take it to war, but I'm not the one carrying it, you know? It is what it is. So I forgot to tell you. So there's the other portion of it. Yeah, a ton of them. And they all had federal warrants. They all had dope. They all had all sorts of bad things on them, and they ended up getting them that way. So kudos to them for taking care of that. Now, what it actually sounds like, we're going to shift focus, and we're going to go up over to the Israeli front. We're going to go start talking about some stuff in between Syria and Lebanon, particularly between, well, it's going to be the IDF on Hezbollah, but also Hezbollah and HTS, because it looks like clashes have erupted over on the Syrian-Lebanese border between HTS and Hezbollah. That's what is actually coming out and being told. So now HTS and Hezbollah are clashing. So that's good. We've got that going on. But while Hezbollah is busy dealing with them, they're also dealing with a couple other things as well, namely things that explode. And when I say namely things that explode, I mean things that explode. I see the question down there. Fungi says, what is HTS? Fungi, that is a very good question. HTS is a terror organization, right? It's a designated foreign terror organization, and it's led by a guy named al-Jawlani. Al-Jawlani, prior to founding HTS, he founded a group called the Al-Nusra Front. Prior to founding the Al-Nusra Front, he was a leader inside of Al-Qaeda in Iraq. And he was friends with this guy named al-Baghdadi, who went on to found ISIS over inside of Syria. When they both left al-Qaeda in Iraq and went into Syria, al-Baghdadi ends up funding ISIS. Sorry, al-Baghdadi ends up funding ISIS, and al-Jawlani ends up funding the Al-Nusra Front. Al-Nusra Front turns into HTS with the stated goal of overthrowing the Syrian government and establishing a Sunni Islamic caliphate, which, by the way, is also the goal of ISIS, establishing a Sunni Islamic caliphate. So their goals were aligned. The difference is Jawlani, because Baghdadi's been dead, right? We killed Baghdadi. He died a beautiful death. He died like a dog. But beautiful dogs, whatever it was Trump said. All right. So Jawlani then overthrew al-Assad, the prior president, who fled to Russia and declared himself president of Syria, and the Biden administration saw it fit to remove the $10 million bounty that was on his head for his part in all sorts of terrorist operations. And they said it was so we could talk to him. But it's okay, because the Biden admin reassures us that he's turned a new leaf and he's going to be a much better guy. So that's who HTS is. So, yeah, we got HTS and Hezbollah going after each other. Yeah, it is a joke. It is an absolute joke. No, you can't make it up either. How are you about to remove a $10 million bounty off a freaking dude's head like that, man? Like, you just can't remove a $10 million bounty. You can't do it. Hey, that's not what I said. More airstrikes. Boom, boom, boom. And if you're wondering what's happening, I did hear earlier that Hezbollah ended up violating the ceasefire agreement. So Israel went after them and started dropping airstrikes. Now, here's something really cool for a lot of you guys that may not have seen this before. This is a bunker buster, all the way back from when they were striking. Oh man, what the heck was the name over there in the capital of Beirut? The name of the little Hezbollah village that they had in the capital of Beirut. I forget it. Some of you guys will know it, right? But I forget it off the top of my head. But a CCTV footage ended up capturing one of the bunker busters going into the ground. And you guys remember how I told you that there is a difference, right? So bunker buster, 2,000-pound bombs, but inside of that 2,000-pound bunker buster, you've only got about 500 pounds of explosives. And when it goes into the ground, that blast is pretty much contained. When I told you I'd rather have a 2,000-pound bunker buster detonate below service 50 meters from me versus a 2,000-pound bomb or a 500-pound bomb surface detonate at the same distance, I meant it. Now, here's why. Watch this. Now, what do you think his odds of survival would have been had that have even been like 250-pound small diameter bomb? Probably not very good. But here we have a 2,000-pound bunker buster that all the Democrats are complaining about that the U.S. supplied to Israel. Here's this dude like 15 feet away climbing onto his little Haji moped. These are bunker busters. Almost got him. You sick. You're sick. You're sick. Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of dirt's going to cascade down and everything else, but it's designed to detonate underground. So it's going to explode underground. It's going to try to expand outward. And then it's going to, obviously some stuff's going to come up, but eventually it's going to end up blasting up. And you get all of that effect coming out afterwards, right? It's going to end up filling that void. Nasrallah's assassination. Thank you. Right. And so it is kind of interesting. And whenever people tell you that they're dropping 2,000-pound bunker busters in the middle of urban areas, show them this video. Just take this video and show them this video. This is a 2,000-pound bunker buster. That guy got lucky. You know, it's funny too, like the people that are tracking those munitions as they're like burning in, like watching it go down, they're like, oh, guy on a moped. And then the guy on the moped barely makes it. They're like, all right, we're good. Guy ends up squeaking its way through. Yep. One more time, because it is pretty outstanding. Like, this is a very rare video to catch. And you can see the actual power of it having that blast contained. If you go back and you look at the car itself, you'll watch the car actually like jump off the ground. You can see the actual like entire surface of the road and stuff like right over here lift up. I actually think this is a really cool video because you don't get to see these very often, but you're going to see everything just kind of like separate and lift up. Watch the suspension on the car and then watch the ground right up here just past the guy. And what you're going to see is everything kind of lift up and go down. One of the coolest videos ever. I mean, that guy probably pooped his pants. If that guy didn't poop his pants, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man. But that is what a 2,000-pound bunker buster actually looks like. Like I said, right around 500 pounds equivalent of TNT, and it's detonated subsurface. So the blast is contained. So you can be a heck of a lot closer than a lot of people give it credit for. And what was funny was I had some nut job over on one of the Twitter spaces that, you know, he uses Google, so he knows, or he used Grok AI. And he was trying to tell me that the 2,000-pound bunker buster can knock somebody over 800 meters away. And I almost had to die laughing, like, listening to that guy. And I wish this video existed back then. I was like, I'm sorry, buddy, but the math doesn't math that way. And no matter how hurt your feelings are, you can't change physics. BBG coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Greatly appreciate you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's keep moving on through some of these airstrikes that are taking place over there. This is another real interesting one. Again, this is Israel striking north of Litani River. We're not entirely sure at this time where exactly they are striking Hezbollah. Liars and thieves. Yep, aren't they all? Yeah, I mean, so I got a feeling that we're going to see a couple more interesting things coming out of Lebanon here in the next couple days. Obviously, Daddy's there. And it's funny that the, day after, is it the day after Netanyahu ended up visiting Trump, that the Israelis are like, we've had enough. We're going back to war. So the real question, I guess, in my mind is, what is it they're striking? Why are they striking it? Why? Like, what's going on? We'll start getting some of that information. So hopefully tomorrow morning I'll be able to get back up and start giving you guys some more war updates at the 9 a.m. broadcast and be able to talk you all through this just a little bit better. Really hope to be able to have a heck of a lot more information. I'm going to start reaching back out and get some other stuff. I would transition to Christian. Bunker busters are made out of artillery barrels? That can't be true. That dude's TBI is not service related. Kenneth, you are 100% correct. That TBI is definitely not service related. Not at all. Not even remotely close. Not at all. Now, as we get back into it, if you guys didn't know, remember how we talked through Giovanni earlier? And we ended up saying that the State Department said that he had turned a new freaking leaf, like that he is better and he's resurrected and he's going to be a good dictator over inside Syria. We don't have to worry about the Islamic Caliphate. No, we don't. We don't have to worry about the big bad Islamic Caliphate coming back to power. But, trans rights and all of that stuff. Didn't somebody ask at one point in time what would happen if transgenders got caught over there? Didn't somebody ask about that? What happens if transgenders get caught by these people? I'm pretty sure I remember that when it was the Queers for Palestine movement. There was a lot of people asking about that. In content warning, there might be a KNIFE coming out here in a second, and it might be plunged into somebody's leg. You guys see that right there? That little guy? And before YouTube cancels me, I'm going to have to turn this off. I'm going to have to stop. But what ends up happening, and this knife right here, ends up winding up in this human being's thigh. Ends up in their thigh. It didn't slip. It wasn't a mistake. This is quite literally what happens. Yeah, we pulled all of his aid. That's it. This is the fault of USAID, right? Because they were in there keeping all of the transgender people safe. No, that's not what happened, ladies and gentlemen. USAID didn't get canceled, and then this person all of a sudden fell victim to HTS. They are a radical Islamic terror organization. And so they will continue to do radical Islamic terror things. I have no doubt right now that vehicle is en route to the nearest tallest building. And if you drive to the nearest tallest building from where this is filmed, that this person's body is probably on the ground and a little bit flatter. That would be my assessment. Or because we've seen it, they also hang them. They're not good human beings. They're really not. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to lie. I've had one heck of a day. I'm a little bit exhausted today. So that's going to do it for me. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, we're going to be back for another live session. I'm going to do, definitely going to have some call-ins going on over there. Let's see here. Cody says, first bunker buster was a 155 barrel. It took like a week to make the first one, trying to be faster than storming Norman in the Desert Shield. No kidding. I didn't know that, man. You learn something new every day. Look at that. Learn something new every day. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, peace, love, happiness, and God bless.